Happy Friday. And when it's Friday during a legislative year, it's all things advocacy with AARP North Dakota. Josh Askvig, State Director of AARP, and with me as always, Janelle Mose, our Advocacy Director. Janelle, another week.
Yes, and we're in the same spot.
In the same spot today. Yes, we got to be here in the same spot today. So let's talk a little bit about what happened this week. One of my favorite weeks of the legislative session because we had approximately 50 of our favorite people with us. I want to tell people about it.
Yeah, and it's becoming one of the legislators' favorite day as well. We had all of our advocacy volunteers and staff at the Capitol on Monday. Yes, it was a very cold day, but the legislators were excited to see the red shirts, and we really filled those hearing rooms. There was lots of hearings related to property taxes and home and community-based services, and legislators got the opportunity to have lunch and visit with their constituents, and I think that's such an important part of the work that we do.
My favorite comment was from Senator Weber when we walked into the property tax hearing because there were folks interested in watching about adding trusts, and he said, "Are they all here for my bill?" And I said, "Yeah, sort of." And he kind of was like, "They're not going to oppose it." I said, "We don't have a position on this bill," but just the power of when we show up, people noticed, and he certainly noticed, and it was fun. So with that, anything else you want to say about Advocacy Day?
No, I think we really made people see the legislative process is accessible and it's friendly and it's not so scary once you get to see kind of behind the scenes curtain, and legislators are people and they want to hear from their constituents, and I think we really gave folks that opportunity to do that on Monday.
Yeah, it was great. So what else happened this week?
We had the cryptocurrency bill, yes, which you and I both showed up in red jackets, which we didn't plan, even though a lot of our lobbyist friends thought we planned. Yes, both to have red jackets on, but we didn't. So you testified in support of. Yeah,
so we had the big hearing on was that Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Gosh, yes, the days are running together. On Wednesday this week, one of our big top priorities this year, trying to crack down on fraud, specifically through cryptocurrency kiosks, House Bill 1447, as you can see on the screen. I thought we had a really good hearing. I thought we obviously saw opposition from the industry, which we kind of expected. I don't think the opposition was quite as robust as I thought it might be. And we got work to do, and we are going to need your help. Let me be clear. Well, the opposition wasn't as robust. We still need your help. And what this bill does is essentially crack down on the ability to use these cryptocurrency kiosks, or crypto ATMs, you may have heard them called, to be used as a payment mechanism for fraud and scams. We know what's happening. We heard or read in testimony from the North Dakota Attorney General's office. They've already had 3 cases just in 2025. It is January 24th. They've already had 3 cases in 2025, totaling over $30,000, I believe, is what she said, this year alone. Never mind what's happened in previous years. And so it's really important that we do something to help crack down and prevent that, provide disclosures, ensure that there's a daily transaction limit, and some of those things. So if you haven't, there'll be a link at the bottom of this, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, for you to email your legislator and tell them to support House Bill 1447. Please do that. So with that, let's jump to next week. I was thinking next week might be slow. I might be able to hang out in the office. You'll be at the Capitol, but it sounds like I'm going to be at the Capitol too. So what's happening next week?
Things really are picking up pace. The deadlines are all coming into, the senators have until Monday to introduce bills. So we've really started to see things pick up pace. And so next week, you're going to be sitting in the Finance and Tax Committee most of Monday. Why?
Yeah, House Bill 1176. You might remember that from the very first one of these we did, Governor Armstrong's property tax proposal. It's been made very clear that that bill is going to be voted out of the House Finance and Tax Committee sometime next week. We expect there to be amendments. There's a lot of discussion. The good news is the parts we really care about in that bill, specifically the expansion of the homestead tax credit, the expansion of the primary residence tax credit, or the primary residence credit, appear to be in good shape. Most of the discussion appears to be around the cap issue, which we do not have a position on. So we'll be there. I'll be there with all of my friends in House Finance and Tax. So what else is going on next week?
So next week, House Bill 1012, which is the Department of Health and Human Services budget, they're going to start taking public testimony. So that means that anybody, lobbyists like me, other organizations, community members that are impacted by funding through the Department of Health and Human Services can come in and talk about it and share real stories about, if I get this funding, this is what it means to me. So the reason we're watching it, obviously, is for home and community-based services. So making sure there's services, there's supports. So if you want to age in your home, how can you make sure that's available? And there's lots of little bits of funding spread throughout that Department of Human Services budget, but we're there to make sure that anything that you need to stay in your community, that's what we're going to be pushing for. So the other thing is prescription drugs, which we thought there was only going to be one bill this legislative session, but we did have a bill that was filed just last week, and it's a study resolution, but it's really an important study because we know that Medicare started negotiating prices at the federal level.
Yep.
And so what we want to know is, will the legislature study that to see what's happening at the federal level and how could that potentially impact the state, and could the state save money by looking at what those negotiated prices are? So that'll be heard in committee on Wednesday morning, but This is a really significant step forward to say, if the federal government's saving money and consumers are saving money on drugs, I would think the state would want to do the same thing. So.
Absolutely. So with that, what do we need people to do this week?
Well, when you're in between football games, right, you want to make sure that you send an email to your legislators. House Bill 1447. So that's the cryptocurrency.
Football's still going.
I know, yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's still football season, but you have time on Saturday because there's no game Saturday. So House Bill 1447, tell your legislators why it's important to make sure that there are additional consumer fraud protection pieces in place around these cryptocurrency ATMs.
Absolutely. And I want to give a huge shout out to our bill sponsors on that bill. Rivers of Swantech, who's the lead sponsor, did a fantastic job introducing that bill. And so I know he would also appreciate the support of 1447. So reach out to your legislator, make sure you're contacting, if you know another legislator, contact them as well, but specifically talk to your legislator about the importance of passing House Bill 1447. With that, it has been a Friday. It's been a busy week. It's going to be another busy week. You're going to want to get back here next Friday to find out everything that happened next week. And with that, this has been another All Things Advocacy with AARP North Dakota.